Welcome to the Grassroots Weekend Preview. I'm your host, Alyssa Longmuir. Another week is done and the leaderboards have been updated. Let's head around the leagues to see what happened last week, starting in the AIHL. The CBR Brave hit the road on Saturday to take on the Sydney Ice Dogs at Macquarie in the first meeting of two scheduled between the teams last weekend. The Brave have a dominant first period, scoring 3 goals to take a 3-1 lead into the second. While there was no scoring in the second frame, the action on the ice didn't let up. Matt Buskus was assessed a 5-minute major penalty and ejected from the game for delivering a hit to the head of Ice Dogs Strat Allen, but the Sydney team was unable to capitalise. The rest of the game was a battle of the goaltenders, and the only other change to the scoreline came from an empty net goal, handing the Brave the win 4-1. The Ice Dogs followed the Brave back to Canberra on Sunday as the two teams faced off again, this time at the Brave Cave. The Ice Dogs got the first points on the board and held a 1-0 lead going into the first intermission. Canberra answered back in the second frame though, tying the game up at 1-1. In a form similar to Saturday's match, Sunday's meeting between these two teams put both goaltenders in the spotlight. CBR Brave would come out the victors, however, as a late go-ahead goal from Jan Safar gave them a 3-2 lead, and an empty net goal from Stephen Blunden would ensure the win, with a final score of 4-2. The Sydney Bears travelled to Melbourne to face the Mustangs in a doubleheader clash. Saturday's game saw the Bears start strong in the first period, putting 3 pucks behind the Mustangs' veteran goaltender and goalie coach Damien Holland. The Mustangs got one back before the first break to put the score at 3-1, but unleashed a torrent of goals themselves in the second period, taking a 4-3 lead into the second intermission. The two teams went goal for goal in the final frame, each team scoring 3 goals. The Mustangs squeaked out the 7-6 win in a demonstration of firepower from both teams. Sunday's game between the Bears and the Mustangs came in spurts. With both teams exiting the first period scoreless, the goaltenders were standing tall. Tyler Noseworthy got the Sydney side on the board early in the second period, but Jamie Burke answered back minutes later, putting the score back on even ground. Noseworthy put another away for the Bears and the team took a 2-1 lead into the second intermission. The action heated up in the third frame, with the Mustangs tying the game at 2-2 just seconds after the puck drop. Sydney then exploded, scoring 3 goals in as many minutes, taking a 5-2 lead over the home side. Holding that lead would prove to be difficult, however, as the Mustangs rallied to claw 3 goals back themselves, tying the game at 5-5 with just 8 seconds left in the game, forcing it to a shootout. Jamie Burke was the hero for the home side, sinking 2 goals in the shootout and taking a 5-6 win for the Mustangs. Saturday saw the start of the dreaded Champions road trip for the Newcastle North Stars as they visited the Adrenaline in Adelaide for the second time this season. It was all Adelaide in the first period, putting 2 goals behind Charlie Smart in his return to the Ice Arena, who last played there as the home team's goaltender. Newcastle got 1 goal back in the dying minutes of the first period, managing to cut Adelaide's lead down 2-1. The second period showcased end-to-end hockey, with the only goal coming in the last seconds of the period when North Star import Steve Kuhn managed to tie the score at 2-2. The third period progressed in a similar fashion to the second, with chances coming at both ends, but both goaltenders were able to play their role and keep the game tied up, ensuring a shootout. Steve Kuhn put his third puck in the net for the night and was the lone scorer in the shootout, taking 2 points for the visiting team. After the shootout victory, the North Stars travelled to Perth on Sunday. Due to injuries suffered in the game against Adelaide, only 11 skaters took to the visitors' bench. Perth didn't waste any time getting to the net, scoring their first goal less than 3 minutes into the game. The Thunder proceeded to score 2 more times before the first intermission to extend their lead to 3-0. Perth would be the only team to score in the second frame and took a 4-0 lead into the final period. Felix Poulin would finally score for the visitors in the third period, but Perth reclaimed their 4-goal lead and took the game with a final score of 5-1. After 6 weeks of competition, the CBR Brave took the top of the ladder with 17 points. Perth Thunder sit in second place with 16, Melbourne Ice are in third place with 14 points, and the Sydney Bears take fourth place on the ladder with 13 points. The AIHL All-Star Weekend is on at OBG Arena in Melbourne this weekend, with the skills event being held on the Saturday and the All-Star game taking place on Sunday. Tickets are still available and $39 will get you entry to both events. Head to www.theaihl.com for more details. I'll also be floating around the arena on both days, so feel free to drop by and say hi. Regular season AIHL games will resume on the 10th of June. The regular season of the Hunter Gridiron League is done, and the fixtures for the second annual Hunter Bowl are fixed. On Sunday, the Port Stephens Bombers defeated the Newcastle City Cannons 12-8 and locked in their place in the finals. Meanwhile, the Lake Macquarie Marauders took an 18-9 victory over the Hunter Valley Miners and will face the Port Stephens Bombers in the Hunter Bowl. At the end of the regular season, the Lake Macquarie Marauders secured first place with 9 points. The Port Stephens Bombers held on to second place with 8 points. The Newcastle City Cannons ended up in third place with 6 points. And the Hunter Valley Miners round things out in fourth place with 1 point. The Hunter Bowl will be held this Saturday and kicks off at 12 p.m. The Grassroots team will be in attendance and will record an episode of the Grassroots podcast on location, so head down to Walters Park at Spears Point to catch the action. Round 3 of the 5x5 Roller Derby tournament was held last weekend at the Hawkesbury Indoor Sports Stadium, and we've got the results from the bout. The Varsity Derby League defeated the Central Coast Roller Derby United 299-158. The Blue Mountain Roller Derby League defeated the Hawkesbury Hills Roller Derby League 267-81. The Newcastle Roller Derby League defeated the Sydney Roller Derby League Snipers 267-119. The Inner West Roller Derby League defeated the Southside Derby Dolls of the Empire 408-39. Round 4 of the 5x5 Roller Derby tournament will take place on the 24th of June, with more details to come closer to that date. That's it for this week's weekend preview. Don't forget to connect with us on social media at grassroots_AU on Twitter, at grassroots_sports on Instagram, and at Grassroots Sports on Facebook. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Friday for another Grassroots Weekend Preview.